Well, good evening, happy Christmas and a happy New Year. This is part 2 of our 2-part family quiz Christmas special. Hopefully you enjoyed last week's quiz and hopefully you enjoy today's quiz. Hopefully it's not too hard and not too easy. And remember, keep last week's scores to hand because they're being added together, and then the person with the highest score, family with the highest score, are the winners. So we'll jump straight in. We've got another 6 rounds of 9 or 10 questions. So round number 1 again is a general knowledge round. So question number 1. These are the 4 highest viewed TV broadcasts of all time. Order them. A. The Beijing Olympics. B. The 2016 Rio Olympics. C. The 2018 FIFA World Cup. D. The 2012 London Olympics. So they are the 4 highest viewed TV broadcasts of all time. Order them. Question number 2. Who is the longest serving Prime Minister? And there is a bonus point if you can guess the correct length. So A is Sir Robert Walpole, B is Lord Bath, C is William Gladstone, or D is Margaret Thatcher. So who was the longest serving British Prime Minister? And then there's a bonus point if you can get how long they served for. Question number 3. The tallest building in the world is found in which city? Is it A, Dubai, B, New York, C, London, or D, Riyadh? So the tallest building in the world is found in which city? A, Dubai, B, New York, C, London, or D, Riyadh? Question number 4. In what year did Twitter launch? A, 2008, B, 2016, C, 2006, or D, 2012? So in what year did Twitter launch? A, 2008, B, 2016, C, 2006, or D, 2012? Give you a moment to think about that. Question number 5. How many children does Queen Elizabeth have? Is it A, 2, B, 3, C, 4, or D, 5? How many children does Queen Elizabeth have? A, 2, B, 3, C, 4, or D, 5? Question number 6. General Douglas MacArthur was removed as a general after a disagreement with President Truman during which war? Was it A, the World War II, B, the Vietnam War, C, the Korean War, or D, the Bay of Pigs invasion? So General Douglas MacArthur was removed as a general after a disagreement with President Truman during which war? World War II, B, the Vietnam War, C, the Korean War, or D, the Bay of Pigs invasion? And question 7. What is Postman Pat's surname? Is it A, Parkinson, B, Clifton, C, Brown, or D, Frost? So what is Postman Pat's surname? A, Parkinson, B, Clifton, C, Brown, or D, Frost? And question number 8. Who is the longest serving presenter of the BBC children's show Blue Peter? Is it A, Helen Skelton, B, John Noakes, C, Connie Hook, or D, Valerie Singleton? So who is the longest serving presenter of the BBC children's show Blue Peter? A. Helen Skelton, B. John Noakes, C. Connie Hook, or D. Valerie Singleton? And that is the end of that round. So moving on to round number 2, which is the history round. So question number 1. In which country is the Bay of Pigs? Is it A. Cuba, B. El Salvador, C. Greece, or D. Vietnam? In which country is the Bay of Pigs? A. Cuba, B. El Salvador, C. Greece, or D. Vietnam? Question number 2. Who was the first human to journey into space? Is it A. Yuri Gagarin, B. Buzz Aldrin, C. Neil Armstrong, or D. Brian Leonard? Who was the first human to journey into space? A. Yuri Gagarin, B. Buzz Aldrin, C. Neil Armstrong, or D. Brian Leonard? Question number 3. Whose body was exhumed from Westminster Abbey more than 2 years after his death to be executed for treason? Was it A. James I, B. James II, C. Oliver Cromwell, or D. Henry III? So whose body was exhumed from Westminster Abbey for more than 2 years after their death to be executed for treason? A. James I, B. James II, C. Oliver Cromwell, or D. Henry III? Question number 4. By what nickname is Edward Teach better known? Is it A. Redbeard, B. Blackbeard, C. Robespierre, or D. Buffalo Bill? So by what nickname is Edward Teach better known? A. Redbeard, B. Blackbeard, C. Robespierre, or D. Buffalo Bill? Question number 5. Julius Caesar was assassinated on the 15th of March 44 BC, a date now often known by what term? A. The cessation of duels, B. Cessation Day, C. The Duels of March, or D. The Ides of March? So Julius Caesar was assassinated on the 15th of March 44 BC, a date now often known by what term? A. The cessation of duels, B. Cessation Day, C. The Duels of March, or D. The Ides of March? And moving on to question number 6. Where was Napoleon Bonaparte born? Was it A. Cyprus, B. Corsica, C. Rhodes, or D. Greece? So where was Napoleon Bonaparte born? A. Cyprus, B. Corsica, C. Rhodes, or D. Greece? Moving on to question 7. What is considered the world's oldest writing system? Is it A. Mandarin, B. Cuneiform, C. Hieroglyphics, or D. Hindi? So what is considered the world's oldest writing system? A. Mandarin, B. Cuneiform, C. Hieroglyphics, or D. Hindi? Question number 8. Which English king died in 1066, leaving no heir to the throne? A. Edward the Confessor, B. Harold, C. Harold Hardrada, or D. William, Duke of Normandy? So which English king died in 1066, leaving no heir to the throne? A. Edward the Confessor, B. Harold, C. Harold Hardrada, or D. William, Duke of Normandy? Question number 9. Who assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria in 1914? Was it A. Gavrilo Princip, B. Dragutin Dimitrijevic, C. Nikola Pasic, or D. Trifko Grabez? So who assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria in 1914? A. Gavrilo Princip, B. Dragutin Dimitrijevic, C. Nikola Pasic, or D. Trifko Grabez? And the final question of this round, question number 10. During 1963, in Washington, D.C., Martin Luther King Jr. gave his famous I Have a Dream speech on the steps of which famous landmark? A. The Lincoln Memorial, B. The Statue of Liberty, C. Central Park, or D. The White House? So during 1963, in Washington, D.C., Martin Luther King Jr. gave his famous I Have a Dream speech on the steps of which famous landmark? A. The Lincoln Memorial, B. The Statue of Liberty, C. Central Park, or D. The White House? Okay, so round number 3 is the music round. So you're going to see 10 pictures come on your screen, and these pictures are depicting a song. So you've got to study the picture and try and work out what this picture, what name of a song and what artist this name of a song this picture is showing. So they'll come up on the screen. You'll get a bit of time to look at them, and then we'll move on. So this is number 1. This is number 2. This is number 3. This is number 4. This is number 5. This is number 6. This is number 7. This is number 8. This is number 9. And this is number 10. Please make sure you get the artist and the title of the song to get a point. If you get one but not the other, you don't get a point, I'm afraid. And moving on to round number 4. This is the politics round. So question number 1. Who was the last Labour Prime Minister? And if you get this question wrong, then you are deducted 3 points because it is that easy. Question number 2. Dennis Skinner was once thrown out of Parliament for using unparliamentary language. What insult did he use to describe then Prime Minister David Cameron? Was it A. Dave the Dunce, B. Dodgy Dave, C. the dimwit in number 10, or D. the troglodyte Tory with no heart? So Dennis Skinner was once thrown out of Parliament for unparliamentary language. What insult did he use to describe then Prime Minister David Cameron? A. Dave the Dunce, B. Dodgy Dave, C. the dimwit in number 10, or D. the troglodyte Tory with no heart? And question number 3. Who was the last leader of the USSR? Was it A. Mikhail Gorbachev, B. Vladimir Putin, C. Nikita Khrushchev, or D. Ivan Siliev? So who was the last leader of the USSR? Was it A. Mikhail Gorbachev, B. Vladimir Putin, C. Nikita Khrushchev, or D. Ivan Siliev? Question number 4. What number Prime Minister is Boris Johnson? Is he A, the 65th, B, the 39th, C, the 55th, or D, the 47th? So what number Prime Minister is Boris Johnson? A, the 65th, B, the 39th, C, the 55th, or D, the 47th? Question number 5. Who was the first US President? Was it A, George Washington, B, Ulysses S. Grant, C, John Tyler, or D, John Adams? So who was the first US President? A, George Washington, B, Ulysses S. Grant, C, John Tyler, or D, John Adams? Question number 6. Who was the first leader of the People's Republic of China? Was it A, Chiang Kai-shek, B, Mao Zedong, C, Zhang Wentian, or D, Hua Guofeng? So who was the first leader of the People's Republic of China? A, Chiang Kai-shek, B, Mao Zedong, C, Zhang Wentian, or D, Hua Guofeng? Question number 7. Which emperor Christianized the Roman Empire? Was it A, Constantine, B, Domitian, C, Hadrian, or D, Vespasian? So which emperor Christianized the Roman Empire? A, Constantine, B, Domitian, C, Hadrian, or D, Vespasian? Give you a moment to think about that. And question number 8. John Tyler was the 10th President of the USA between 1841 and 1845. What is remarkable about him today? Is it A, that his corpse is on display at the House of Representatives, B, his desk is still in use at the White House, C, he has 2 living grandchildren, or D, when a president is sworn in, Tyler's Bible is still used for the oath? So John Tyler was the 10th President of the USA between 1841 and 1845. What is remarkable about him today? A, his corpse is on display at the House of Representatives, B, his desk is still in use at the White House, C, he has 2 living grandchildren, or D, when a president is sworn in, Tyler's Bible is still used for the oath? Question 9. Which country occupied Korea until World War II? Was it A, China, B, Japan, C, France, or D, India? So which country occupied Korea, and that is Korea as a whole, until World War II? A, China, B, Japan, C, France, or D, India? And the final question of this round, question number 10. Sean O'Hara is a perennial candidate in the USA. How many times has he run for public office but not been elected? Is it A, he's run 72 times, B, he's run 52 times, C, he's run 22 times, or D, he's ran 53 times? So Sean O'Hara is a perennial candidate in the USA. How many times has he run for public office but not been elected? A, 72 times, B, 52 times, C, 22 times, or D, 53 times? And moving on to round number 5. So this round is the Guess Who round. So an example here for you. You'll get 3 clues that will come up on the screen, and you've got to try and work out who it is. So your 3 clues for this example. Clue 1, I have blonde hair. Clue 2, I'm in the public eye every day. And clue 3, I live in a famous house. If you were guessing Boris Johnson, you would have been correct. So, Number 1. Clue number 1, I'm a very famous actor. Clue number 2, my roles have included a detective and a market trader. And clue number 3, I was voted Britain's favourite actor in 2006. So using those clues, who is this person? Person number 2. Clue number 1, you'll never take my freedom. Clue number 2, I wanted Scottish independence. Clue number 3, Mel Gibson did a pretty good job of portraying me on screen. So who might this be? Number 3. Who is this person? Clue number 1, I was a child actor. Clue number 2, I sued my parents for keeping my earnings from me. And clue number 3, I'm a dab hand at rigging a house up with booby traps. So who might that be? Number 4. Clue number 1, I played for Aberdeen during my playing career. Clue number 2, I moved south of the border to take a job which I kept for 26 years. And clue number 3, I retired from working in 2013, but my shadow still looms large. So who might that be? Number 5. Clue number 1, I was a politician. Clue number 2, I was the leader of my party for 6 months. And clue number 3, I lost my role and my seat at the 2019 general election, so the last election. Number 6. Clue number 1, I am a dame. Clue number 2, I have worked alongside Daniel Craig. Clue number 3, I am one of the most famous lady actresses in the country, that is in the UK. I think this is number 7, but I've lost track. Clue number 1, I ran through fields of wheat as a child. Clue number 2, I worked for Maidenhead. And clue number 3, I was only the second woman to hold this office. So who might I be? Number 8. Clue number 1, I was a much loved actor. Clue number 2, I was in a variety of films, including Night at the Museum. And the final clue, I had a radio show in which my catchphrase was, "Good morning, Vietnam." And number 9, who is this person? Clue number 1, I am a well-known talk show host. Clue number 2, I have my own cable TV channel. And clue number 3, in 2007, I was ranked as the most influential woman in the world. The final one of this round, who is this person? Clue number 1, I am regarded as one of the greatest footballers of all time. Clue number 2, I nearly gave up football due to homesickness. Clue number 3, I made the number 7 shirt iconic. And the final round of this quiz, round number 6, the Christmas round. Question number 1. Which country started the tradition of putting up a Christmas tree? Was it A, Germany, B. Denmark, C. Sweden, or D. Austria? So which country started the tradition of putting up a Christmas tree? A. Germany, B. Denmark, C. Sweden, or D. Austria? Question number 2. How many ghosts show up in A Christmas Carol? Is it A. 3, B. 4, C. 5, or D. 6? So how many ghosts show up in A Christmas Carol? A. 3, B. 4, C. 5, or D. 6? Question number 3. Which country did eggnog originate from? A. France, B. Scotland, C. Britain, or D. Ireland? So which country did eggnog originate from? A. France, B. Scotland, C. Britain, or D. Ireland? Question number 4. How many gifts were given in total in the 12 Days of Christmas song? Is it A. 363, B. 364, C. 365, or D. 366? So how many gifts were given in total in the 12 Days of Christmas song? A. 363, B. 364, C. 365, or D. 366? Question number 5. What year did Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You come out? Was it A. 1990, B. 1992, C. 1994, or D. 1996? So what year did Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You come out? A. 1990, B. 1992, C. 1994, or D. 1996? Question 6. In which country is it tradition to eat KFC for Christmas dinner? Is it A. Japan, B. Hawaii, C. India, or D. Liberia? So in which country is it tradition to eat KFC for Christmas dinner? A. Japan, B. Hawaii, C. India, or D. Liberia? Question number 7. What is traditionally hidden inside a Christmas pudding? Is it A. some mistletoe, B. some red currants, C. a coin, or D. a £10 note? So what is traditionally hidden inside a Christmas pudding? A. some mistletoe, B. red currants, C. a coin, or D. a £10 note? Question number 8. Which city has been donating Trafalgar Square's Christmas tree to London every year since 1947? Is it A. Helsinki, Finland, B. Berlin, Germany, C. Oslo, Norway, or D. Stockholm, Sweden? So which city has been donating Trafalgar Square's Christmas tree to London every year since 1947? A. Helsinki, B. Berlin, C. Oslo, or D. Stockholm? Question 9. What time is the Queen's speech traditionally broadcast on Christmas Day? A. 2:30 p.m, B. 2:45 p.m, C. 3 p.m, or D, 3:15 p.m. So what time is a Queen's speech traditionally broadcast on Christmas Day? A, 2:30 p.m, B, 2:45 p.m, C, 3 p.m, or D, 3:15 p.m. And final question of the quiz, I think. Yep, final question of the quiz. Question 10. What colour suit did Santa wear until Coca-Cola rebranded him in red? A, yellow, B, orange, C, purple, or D, green? So what colour suit did Santa wear until Coca-Cola rebranded him in red? A, yellow, B, orange, C, purple, or D, green? Well, thank you very much for joining us for part 2 of our 2-part Christmas special quiz. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope it wasn't too hard or too easy. And do join us again to see the answers. Thank you and goodbye. So now we've got the answers from part 2 of our Christmas special quiz. So here are the answers from round 1, the general knowledge round. So these are the 4 highest viewed TV broadcasts of all time, and I want you to order them. So D, 2012 Olympics, then B, the 2016 Olympics, C, the 2018 World Cup, and A, the 2008 Beijing Olympics. So you need to get them all in the right order. And I don't know if you get, I think you need you need to get all 4 in the right order to get 2 marks. And if you get 1 or more out of order, you only get a mark. Question 2. The longest serving British Prime Minister was A, Sir Robert Walpole, and he served for 21 years. So if you got A, you get a mark, and then if you get 21 years, you get a second mark. Question 3. The tallest building in the world is found in Dubai. A, Dubai. Question 4. Twitter launched in the year 2006. C, 2006. Question 5. Queen Elizabeth has C, 4 children. Question 6. General Douglas MacArthur was removed as a general after a disagreement with President Truman during the Korean War. That is C, the Korean War. Question 7. Postman Pat's surname is B, Clifton. Question 8. The longest serving presenter of Blue Peter was B, John Noakes. And that's the end of that round. The history round is next. So question 1. In which country is the Bay of Pigs? It is in A, Cuba. Question 2. The first human to journey into space is A, Yuri Gagarin. Question 3. It was the body of Oliver Cromwell that was exhumed and then executed for treason. That is C. Question 4. Edward Teach is better known by his nickname of B, Blackbeard. Question 5. Julius Caesar was assassinated on the 15th of March 44 BC, a date which is now often known by D, the Ides of March. Question 6. Napoleon Bonaparte was born in B, Corsica. Question 7. The world's oldest writing system was B, cuneiform. Question 8. The English king that died in 1066 and left no heir to the throne was A, Edward the Confessor. Question 9. It was A, Gavrilo Princip, who assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand. And it was A, the Lincoln Memorial was where Martin Luther King Jr. gave his famous I Have a Dream speech. So that's the end of that round. So again, that's out of 10. So round number 3 is a music round. So don't forget you need both the artist and the song name to get the marks. So number 1 was One Direction, One Way or Another. Number 2 was Itchy Park with Small Faces. Number 3 was Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash. Number 4 was Queen and Somebody to Love. 5 was Blondie and Hanging on the Phone. 6 was Salt and Pepper with Push It. 7 was Brown Girl in the Ring by Boney M. Number 8 was T-Rex and Ride a White Swan. Number 9 was Lovin' Spoonful by Summer in the City. And number 10 was Tragedy by Steps. Moving on to round number 4, and this is the politics round. So question 1, the last Labour Prime Minister was, of course, Gordon Brown. If you got that wrong, you've got to deduct yourself 3 points because it was so easy. Number 2, Dennis Skinner was thrown out of Parliament for calling David Cameron B, Dodgy Dave. Question 3, the last leader of the USSR was A, Mikhail Gorbachev. Number 4, Boris Johnson is the 55th Prime Minister of the UK, so that's C. Question 5, the first US President was A, George Washington. Question 6, the first leader of the People's Republic of China was B, Mao Zedong. The emperor that Christianized the Roman Empire was A, Constantine. Question 8, John Tyler, who was the 10th President of the USA between 1841 and 1845. The remarkable thing about him today is that C, he has 2 living grandchildren. Question 9, which country occupied Korea until World War II? That was B, Japan. And finally, question 10, Sean O'Hara has ran for public office but not been elected a total of B, 52 times. Round number 5, the Guess Who round. Who am I? So the clues here, I'm a very famous actor, they've been a detective and a market trader, and they were Britain's favourite actor in 2006. It is, of course, David Jason. Who am I here? This is William Wallace, number 2, William Wallace. Number 3 is Macaulay Culkin, who starred in Home Alone. Number 4, this person is Sir Alex Ferguson, manager at Manchester United for 26 years. Number 4, I think, is it one, 2, 3. Number 5, this politician who ran their party for 6 months but lost their seat at the last general election is, of course, Jo Swinson. Number 6, this dame is Dame Judi Dench. Number 7, the person who ran through wheat fields as a child was Theresa May. Number 8, the much-loved actor who starred in At the Museum and other films was Robin Williams. Number 9, the talk show host was Oprah Winfrey. And the final one of this round, number 10, the homesick number 7 was George Best. Final round of this quiz, the Christmas round. Question 1, the country that started the tradition of putting up a Christmas tree was A, Germany. There were B, 4 ghosts that show up in A Christmas Carol. The country that eggnog originated in was C, Britain. Question 4, how many gifts were given in 12 Days of Christmas? Was B, 364. Question 5, what year did Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You come out? Was in C, 1994. Question 6, the country that is a tradition to eat KFC for Christmas dinner is A, Japan. Question 7, traditionally hidden in a Christmas pudding is C, a coin. Question 8, it is C, Oslo, Norway, that has been donating a Christmas tree to London every year since 1947. Question 9 is at C, 3 p.m. that the Queen's speech is traditionally broadcast. And question 10, the colour of suit that Santa wore before Coca-Cola rebranded him was D, green. So at the end of that quiz, you should be able to get a mark out of 60 and then have a mark out of 120 in total when you add the 2 quizzes together. So once you've done that, send us through your score, whether you put it in the comments or text it directly to me, and we can see who is the overall winner. Hope you've enjoyed the quiz. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you again soon. Goodbye.